I think that I found some fascinating news when it comes to Hedera. And of course, I think something like this could hypothetically greatly benefit something like HBAR moving forward. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, we'll see that not too long ago, when it comes to Hedera, they made a post on X and it stated how the AI studio is here. Now, this is very amazing because, of course, I think could be such a big narrative moving forward. It's already big, but I think could be bigger. Now, let's take a look at some of the details when it comes to this. To put it quite simply, right? They put how it's a modular open source toolkit for building transparent AI agents on Hedera. This is great. Will I ever use it? No. Will I even really care about it? Yeah, I'll care about it, even though I'll probably never use it. It's because here's the thing. Again, just like I mentioned before, I think AI could be so massive. And when it comes to Hedera initially, when I got into it, it was more so just focused on, kind of showcasing how, hey, when it comes to Hedera hash graph, it's a directed acyclic graph. It's a little bit different than traditional blockchain technology. It has better benefits. That was good. And that worked at that time. But you know what people care about as of right now? I think, beyond meme coins and whatnot, they care about AI. And I do like this direction in which Hedera is heading because, again, they kind of shifted what they usually promote, right? Now they're really going heavily into AI, it feels like, at least to me. And I think this is fantastic. First of all, it showcases that the team, I think, behind it really cares about this project, right? They know the trends, they know what's, good moving forward, and also they know what people are into. And I think this is all amazing. Not to mention as well, I kind of feel like they treat Hedera as their full-time thing because other projects out there, it just kind of feels like the team is doing it part-time, for whatever reason, right? Maybe they don't really care about it, or maybe, it's not doing that well. They're doing other things or whatever. But even besides that, this one doesn't feel like that, right? When it comes to Hedera, again, it feels like they're treating it as their full-time thing, if that makes sense, not like a part-time thing. And again, stuff like this, I think, really does indicate that. Now, in my opinion, this, again, AI studio, it doesn't necessarily need the best adoption of all time because let's face it, right? They're launching this pretty much, give or take, in the middle of 2025. If let's say some people are assuming that, let's say the peak of the altcoin season could maybe happen near the end of this year. Again, some people are saying that. I don't see why that's too ridiculous. But even besides that, let's just think about this logically. Let's say in the next 6 months, right? Could this gain mass adoption? I think highly unlikely. I'll have to say that because I think that is maybe going to be the case. But it doesn't really matter because take a look at many AI projects that did very well historically speaking. They don't have the best adoption out there and their quality really isn't that good in my opinion. They're just focused on AI, but it's not really that good. But then just because it has that label, right? Again, being focused on AI, that was enough to really create a lot of attention, a lot of momentum. And again, historically, we saw it do very well. I'm talking about, some AI projects, even though a lot of them are having a pullback as of right now. But I think better days are ahead. And I think when it comes to HBAR, it's no different because when it comes to the idea of $3, right? That still wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run because, again, beyond being a directed acyclic graph, Hedera is kind of showcasing that, what? We can also focus on AI. You know what I mean? A lot of projects out there that are focused on, AI, right? They're using traditional blockchain technology. It's good, it's fine, it's going to work moving forward, and it's still working as of right now, but why not use a directed acyclic graph? Yes, these projects that are focused on AI using traditional blockchain technology, it's good, but when it comes to a directed acyclic graph, I think it could be much better because, again, it has more benefits in theory, like, for instance, reduced energy consumption, again, when compared to traditional blockchain technology, right, typically improved data storage. Also on top of that, we take a look at it's usually very fast, it's very scalable. So really in the grand scheme of things, I think this is so fantastic. But of course, I think some people out there seem to think that, if a project is focused on AI, the best case to use or like the best case scenario is that the project is using traditional blockchain technology. But I think Hedera is kind of changing that mindset in a sense, right? It's kind of showcasing that, we can use something else, a directed acyclic graph. We don't have to necessarily use traditional blockchain technology. I like this approach right here. It's very different. It's very unique. And it's a big thumbs up for me. Now, we have to take a look at why the idea, again, of $3, I don't think is too much to ask for. We have to take a look at the market cap because considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $127 billion. I don't think that's too bad, really. I mean, I'm not saying that HBAR is going to ever defeat Ethereum, by the way, but we have to take a look at how Ethereum back in 2021, a time with far less crypto owners, far less hype about, institutional investors and enterprise adoption, all this type of stuff, right? Back then, Ethereum was able to reach over $500 billion in terms of market cap. To be a little bit specific, it was actually around 550 billion in terms of market cap, depending on the site or exchange or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, kind of as a baseline, it was like around, give or take, $500 billion in terms of its market cap back then, at one point at least. Not right now, but I'm just saying. Now, are we saying that if, let's say, Ethereum during this bull run, which many people are saying could reach over $1 trillion in market cap and maybe reach like 2 trillion, some people are even saying that. We'll have to wait and see though, but I'm just saying, if let's say Ethereum did that well back then and let's say it could do a lot better this time around, are we saying that a glimpse of like, let's say give or take over 100 billion kind of flow into this? It's just my perspective. BNB back in 2021 exceeded over $100 billion in market cap. So I just don't think this is too ridiculous. Now, of course, when it comes to Hedera, it doesn't necessarily have the brand image of like Ethereum or like a BNB. But I think that, again, during this bull run, it just feels a lot different. There's more crypto owners this time around, over 600 million according to Crypto.com research, which is more, again, than ever before in history. And just also think about this, right? Even though there's more competitors, I get that because many people, it feels like they're launching random coins. It feels like, it always pops up, right? Usually these very bad meme coins, I feel like, in a lot of cases I see. And I think it's because there's a lot of launch pads. So it's very easy to do that. But then the thing is that, when people take a look at something like that, they're like, whoa, that means HBAR is going to become diluted and all this. Well, here's the thing. Yes, there's more competitors, but it doesn't mean that there's necessarily a lot more good competitors, if that makes sense. A lot more competitors that are quote unquote viable, because a lot of them I don't think are viable. Many of them never make it, in a sense that, sure, they're going to stick around, but they never gain any sort of major exchange listings. The liquidity in some cases is very bad. So it would be very difficult for someone to really do anything with it, I feel like, in the grand scheme of things, right? So then, yes, HBAR has more competitors now, but I don't think there's too many good ones, right? So I still think it's a viable option. I don't think it's going to become diluted in that sense. But as of right now, it's clearly just a waiting game. And again, right, if we see news like this pop up consistently, which historically speaking, we've seen Hedera pretty much have, kind of consistent news when it comes to it, right? Other projects out there, not really, but this one is pretty consistent. And I do like that. And I think as the altcoin space really picks up, it could really be fantastic. But again, it's just a waiting game. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. Sure, we can take a look back in history and see that, how usually, as a worst case scenario, altcoins typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. The last one happened in April of last year, so we add 18 months on top of that. That's around October this year. I get it. We can take a look at stuff like that, and I do pay attention to that, but it's not going to be exactly accurate, maybe. I think this time around we'll have to wait and see, but it's not always going to repeat itself to an exact T, I'm assuming. So then, again, the market is going to wake up when it wants to wake up, so I'm going to still be acquiring, holding, and just waiting. That's pretty much it. I've been doing that back then before HBAR pump. And again, I'm still doing it right now, even though it had a dump and then had a pretty good recovery, but I'm just saying still. The mission and the plan isn't going to change for me, and again, $3 when it comes to HBAR wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's only the captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.